for me, Aubrey, a guy who's doing his best and doesn't all, still is kind of hard on himself, and I can feel that in hell that maybe I'm not doing my best, and maybe there's something else I could do, or maybe there's some way that I could serve the world in a better way. And I just want to open up to the guides to see if they have any guidance for me.
They're telling me to go to you first. So I'm going to tune into you first, if that's okay. And then they're going to speak. So I'm going to see what it just feels like to be you. When I tune into you, you actually say, I don't want to know myself any deeper than I do. It's too hard. And it's hard. I got to tell you, it feels hard. And there's anger at people for not knowing what you're trying to do, is what I get. This is the anger feeling misunderstood. So let me go to the guides and see what they want to say. Tell the young man he's being celebrated, not for what he does, but who is not for what he does, but who he is, in a celebration in the higher level. And a celebration in the higher level is always about the reconciliation, is always about the reconciliation of spirit and matter, In fact, what you're embarking on is a renowing of the self, is a renowing of the self beyond the industry you've known, beyond the industry you've known, or what you cataloged yourself as, or what you've cataloged yourself as. These have been useful hallways to wander down. These have been useful hallways to wander down. They have never been your destination. They have never been your destination. Once you understand that who and what you are, once you understand that who and what you are, the true self and embodiment, the true self and embodiment is here to love and serve, You will let go of the outcome. You will let go of the outcome, because what will be offered to you, will actually give you what you require, will actually give you what you require to reknow the world, and what that means. And what that means to reknow the world, is to see the blessing, of God upon all matter, Now we're using these words carefully for you. Because indeed you are a student of this work, the blessing of God upon all matter simply means that you are acting in agency to reclaim what has been dispossessed, or denied. The challenge you will face personally is your idea of what things should be, or how they should look after the fact, and letting go of the outcome, of your acts, or affect upon the world, will be essential for you. In fact, it's not your business. You are learning humility. By releasing the need for outcome, It is a hard gift to give. It is a harder one to receive. And what we mean by this is, when a soul is ready for these lessons, they are offered and carefully, so that the soul can assume its requirements for development, at the cost for the person who describe, at the cost of what the personality would ascribe, period. And they're saying period.
Yeah, it's really powerful to hear. I mean, it's the attachment to outcome. It really is that's the criteria for judgment that I'm judging myself against. And that's what creates the suffering and creates the anxiety is this, I have a fixation on the outcome of my acts and my deeds. And if I fail to meet this hypothesized outcome, this imagined outcome, then I haven't done enough. But I don't know what that outcome is. It's always ephemeral, and it's always moving, and it's always just a little bit more than I ever did. So I'm never quite actually there, because I'm always moving the line just farther enough. And I think that's a beautiful reframe, and I'll hold that tightly. And I guess for me, the challenge is also that, I have a lot of people that are supporting me in a team, and we're all collectively doing our best. And it's difficult to manage a team without goals and without, intentions. And so it's this interesting paradox of striving to attain the goals, to get more people to listen to the podcast, because I believe in the podcast, but then surrendering the attachment to the outcome of how many people. And that's the tug and pull of this work. It is inherently a paradox of being the multidimensional being that we all are.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it's showing up. The guides say how we serve or how we're most fully expressed as the true self. And some of that's just showing up. For my stuff, I've learned how to show up when I don't want to, which is fairly often, but I show up anyway. That's my part of the job. And I look at this as the job. This is how I show up, and I take the dictation, and I try to be in my integrity as I work, and everything else is kind of out of my hands. So I don't know that there's more that we can do in terms of making plans. I've asked this too, it's not like, because I meet people that say, well, God will take care of this. I don't have to pay my rent. I'm like, if you're living in if you're supposed to pay rent, you're accountable for the rent, do something about it. And my example is, if it's not a bad idea to chop firewood for the winter if you're living in a bungalow in the middle of the forest.
Right.
It's not, chop the wood. That's your responsibility. That's being planful. I don't think being planful is necessarily being controlling.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of this stuff though when I was in my early sobriety in my late 20s, and I was so poor, and I didn't know what was coming. I was barely functional for a while. But I actually was taken care of through that period in miraculous ways. And when I look back on it now, and I go, my God, you were so close to being homeless. You don't even realize it for a long time. And I didn't, thank God. It would have scared me out of my mind. But I had a place to stay, and I had food, and I was learning, and I go back and I can remember that. And I go, why does it need to be different now? I showed up then, I show up now. The circumstances are different. I'm still learning. I'm not done yet. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not striving to be, but I'm trying to be available to what wants to be, known in my experience in my life in a way that I believe, I'm not going to say surpasses what was before, but is radically different than what I used to know. Because as I said, I wouldn't have been able to choose this because I didn't know that I could,